So now the second part that what we are going to do here, we are going to understand how we can install a search bot. So it's kind of encryption that we talked about. Symmetric keys are going to be used. So asymmetric keys are those symmetric keys where we are so there is a public key and a private key concept. So SSL certificate also works the same way. There is a some private one and a public one. So public one is going to be utilized to encrypt the data, but it cannot be utilized to decrypt it. So decryption we need to have a private key, and private key is going to be stored in those places where we have full confidentiality that no one can access a private key. So that gives a feature that no one in the middle can able to see the data if someone is actually spying on us. So this is a little advantageous for us, and that's what we are going to focus on. So now the very first step that we are going to talk about, let's close this one, and what we can do here. So there is a video that I wanted to show here, which is this one. And now if you take a look, that I have done couple of commands here already because I was testing it out, and the command was called sudo dnf install y. Okay, so dnf is the package manager which is going to install this certbot python certbot and all that, so that I can able to have that. Okay, so I also need to run this sudo certbot double dash nginx. Okay, so that's a command that I have to use. But to install something, because I'm using Amazon Linux, so there is a command that I have to specifically use. I will be sharing these commands. Okay, and you can also take a look. So this is a installing a certbot, and I'm just saying you are going to enable it for footer.site and www.footer.site. So there are two endpoints, so that if the request is going to come from there, you also have to have a SSL certificate. And now this is the very first thing that we have to run. Okay, so this is a command that is going to install a certbot and is Python certbot way, so that I can now. So this is a bit wrong also, but because we are not using Apache, we are just using Nginx. So you just need to have a Python 3 certbot Nginx, and you don't need to mention all that. Okay, you just need a certbot and a certbot nginx, python 3 certbot nginx. So these two things we do not need, but if you have installed it, it's no big deal. It will not create any problem in that case. So this is a command that we have to use, is to install a certbot and a python certbot, so that this certbot is going to be utilized to install the ssl certificate in my system. So once this is done, let's increase the playback speed. And okay, so now after that you have to, it will take a couple of seconds based on the internet of your cloud. So once that is done, you are going to now going to use sudo certbot double dash nginx, and here you are going to provide a domain name. So there is a mistake here. You sudo certbot double dash nginx. You also have to use fruitdog.site. Uh, Before fruitdog.site, you also have to mention dash d. Okay, and then this is the correct command. Okay, so this sudo certbot under double dash nginx dash d, and then you are going to provide a domain name, and then you are also going to specify d, that specifying a domain, and you are going to speak say it with www. If some request is going to come from www, then also you are going to process it, and you are also going to attach a ssl certificate for that. So this ssl certificate is going to come from the certbot. So this certbot is being provided by the Let's Encrypt, so it will automatically handle all that. So after that, you're just going to provide the information, necessary permissions that they are going to ask you, on which email you have this domain on. Just give that your domain, and after that you're just going to say if you agree with all the permissions and all that, you just say yes. After that, they will also ask for the certificate, that once the certificate is going to get installed, there, there is some confirmation message that for this for us. So once you do, so in this case I got an error, but the error is a little bit of mistake that we have performed. So now we are just going to fix that. We if we notice here www.fruitop.site.com we have attached, so we don't have to attach that to com, and now it will be working fine. Okay, once that is done, now if you take a look, now still there is some error. Okay, the error is actually we did not add a dash d. Okay, and it takes a couple of seconds to figure it out that we forgot to use d/d, and now we'll be able to have that. Okay, so now I'll be using dash d, and this will work out sudo certbot double dash nginx dash d domain and the domain name, and make sure you are not specifying .com as well. So once you do enter, it will automatically get deployed, and it will automatically give you an SSL certificate here. So this is how we can attach SSL certificate with free. Okay, so it will work for 90 days with no problems. You can also see view this certificate. You can also see the public key, but they will not give you a private key because private key is being utilized to encrypt. Okay, so backend is trying to decrypt it with that key. So backend has that private key. And if you noticed here also, you will get you will if you see all those messages that are coming from the third bot, you will also see that. So now it is actually working with https router.site slash API, and now I'm going to attach it with the front end as well, so that from the front end also we are going to attach it. So wherever we have attached this to our front end, now it's going to come make a request from a front end to back end, and the back end is running 24/7 without any interruption. Okay, so you have to make sure that PM2 should be installed. Okay, so once you do this, you should also do the PM2. If you are not running that PM2, install index.js file. You have to specify that, and once you do, you have your front end, and the front end is actually connected with your back end. And you can also see in the network tab, you notice here there is some error from the socket IO, because that error is actually uh, a course error. You notice here status is course, some issue is there, but REST API things are working. So socket IO is not working because we don't have just have to handle the socket course error. Okay, we just have to specify that everyone can access, or the email ID, or the our front end can access it. We have to specify that in the backend, and that change we have to reflect in the backend. And once you do, you will see this messages are not going to cut because this is actually using this socket IO, but we do not have a socket IO. Okay, so we'll fix it some other time, but it is a straightforward answer. You can just find it on the Google, and it will be just telling you how you can fix that. And that's pretty much it, that we deploy our Node.js application on the bare metal, uh, on the EC2 machine. And yesterday we have seen all those changes, and now we also have changes. See the changes, how fully with the SSL certificate, with all the necessary information that we need to know to make sure that we are deploying it. Okay, so it's not the end goal, but it's something that is very important that you need to know. As if you are understanding a full stack environment, you need to understand these structure, how you can create it, front end, back end, and the how you can deploy that. Okay, so this is about it. You can also install your deploy your front end, Versal, Netlify. It's pretty straightforward. You just have to push this code uh, to the uh, to the server, and you will be able to have, because it's working on the client side, so you don't have to worry about it. So it's straightforward answer. But you can also use a Amazon amplifier to host up your front end things. Okay, or a React, or a GitHub also can be used for that. Okay, so it's that is straightforward. But what was complicated was a Node.js. So how we can deploy that Node.js on the bare metal? You can also use some Lambda if you want. Okay, we have talked about Lambda. And Lambda is just a event-driven architecture. It's just going to handle those events, but there can be a cold startup times and all those things. So there are a lot of things still that this is not an end goal. Okay, so you should be learning other than this also. Okay, and if you need any help regarding anything that we have talked about, feel free to contact me. And I'll be giving you some hints, some understanding if you need to understand something, and some topic that you're not able to understand, and you can ask for a genuine help from me. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I think because yesterday we should be able to have a end session, but it wasn't within a time. It was very hard to complete. Okay, so your communication class also joined within time, and we didn't get much time to discuss other things. But that's why I'm making this video, so that you guys can able to see the things that are left, and now we'll also be able to say proper goodbye to each other. Okay, so from today onwards, I think we do not have any class, uh, but yeah, and have a nice day and a happy career, all of you. Okay, so